Southeast Asian foreign ministers have vowed to finalize negotiations with China over a proposed pact aimed at preventing conflicts in the disputed South China Sea in their annual retreat today in Indonesia's capital. China and the ASEAN member states, which include 4 rival claimants to territories in the South China Sea, have been holding sporadic talks for years on a code of conduct, a set of regional norms and rules aimed at preventing a clash over the disputed waters. Good evening, I'm Sarah Chitrakar and these are the headlines of the hour. Prime Minister Dahal and CPN-UML Chair Oli hold talks to resolve disputes within the ruling coalition parties. Premier Dahal says constrained politics among political parties will likely invite political crisis. The number of visitors to Buddhist pilgrimage site Lumbini, the birthplace of Gautam Buddha, on the rise. Authorities failed to lengthen the stay of these tourists to reap benefits. Indonesia plans to intensify talks with China and other Southeast Asian countries to finalize a code of conduct for the disputed South China Sea. And protest organized against Can's decision of lifting the ban on Sandeep Lamichhane and including him in the national cricket team's closed camp training. Demand to boycott Can and Sandeep. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal and CPN-UML Chair KP Sharma Oli have held talks at a time when the ruling coalition partners have remained polarized. Discussions have been held between the two leaders at the Prime Minister's official residence in Balwatar earlier today regarding the ultimatum issued by Rashtriya Swatantra Party to quit the government. RSP has warned to quit the current government if the Ministry of Home Affairs is not allocated to them. The meeting, however, failed to reach a consensus. Premier Dahal has reached a mindset not to alert the Home Ministry to RSP, while Chair Oli has proposed the Premier to abide by the previously reached consensus to give the Ministry to RSP. The meeting of the high-level mechanism of the ruling alliance to address the internal dispute has not been held yet. Rashtriya Swatantra Party's meeting held on Thursday had proposed to call a meeting of the high-level political mechanism within 2 days to address the issue. Preparations to hold the meeting have not begun yet, therefore the internal dispute of the ruling coalition is unlikely to be instantly solved. Prime Minister Pushpa Kamal Dahal has said that the constrained politics among the political parties will likely invite political crisis in the country. Inaugurating the program organized on the occasion of the Second General Assembly of the Indigenous Nationalities Commission in Kathmandu earlier today, Prime Minister Dahal said that there is no alternative to the national security and promoting national unity to ensure the rights of the general public. Premier Dahal says the nation must unite to solve the problem of economic and political crisis. Prime Minister Dahal said that a lot has to be done to ensure proportionate inclusivity of the indigenous nationalities and more than 50% women participation. Chairperson of the Indigenous Nationalities Commission, Ram Bahadur Thapa Magar, drew the attention of the state authorities towards lack of inclusivity as 45 out of 60 ethnic groups have not reached in the policy-making level. Currently, there are 80 lawmakers in the House of Representatives that belong to the indigenous group, which is merely 30%. CPN Mao Center has said that the party would start a 2-month campaign to improve the party organization. The standing committee meeting held at the party office in Peristada today decided to start the campaign from 9th of February. It has been decided that province committee meetings will be held to improve the party organization up to the local levels. The party meeting has given province committees the responsibility for taking organizational decisions. The standing committee meeting has also decided to nominate former Speaker Agni Sapkota as the party's central member. CPN Unified Socialist Chairperson Madhav Kumar Nepal has expressed a doubt that the 7-party ruling coalition will last until the presidential election. While speaking at the party's Central Committee meeting that has begun from today, Chair Nepal claimed that the ruling coalition partners have become polarized and that the alliance could break any moment. Nepal says that CPN-UML chair KP Sharma Oli will only endure Prime Minister Dahal until the presidential election. Chair Nepal has included 4 reasons for the split of the 5-party alliance led by Congress President Sher Bahadur Deuba in his political report. Nepal has termed increasing pride in Congress, lack of proper information to Deuba, ploy by Oli and power politics as the reasons for the split of the 5-party alliance. The Central Committee meeting of CPN Unified Socialist will continue until tomorrow. Minister for Foreign Affairs Bimala Rai Paudel has paid her courtesy to Sri Lankan Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardene. Discussions regarding the bilateral relations and coordination among other issues were discussed during the meeting that was held yesterday evening. The Ministry for Foreign Affairs has said that Sri Lankan Premier Gunawardene has pledged to coordinate with Nepal as the two countries share historic ties. Prior to this, Minister Paudel had met with her Sri Lankan counterpart MUM Ali Sabri. Minister Paudel had attended the program organized in Colombo on the occasion of Sri Lanka's 75th Independence Day. Minister Paudel is scheduled to pay her courtesy to Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe today. The police had arrested lawmaker Arun Kumar Chaudhary, who was accused of setting a tractor on fire and was sentenced to 6 months in jail, has failed to detain another lawmaker Lakshmi Mahato Koiri, who has been alleged of serious crimes. Police have not been able to arrest lawmaker Koiri, who is accused of involvement in the murder of Superintendent of Police Thawan Bika in Mahottari on 11 September 2015 during the Madesh movement. The court had ordered to detain Koiri. Koiri had won the November 20th election from Mahottari 1. Koiri, who was present at the parliament on 10th of January and had given the vote of confidence to Prime Minister Dahal, has been absconding since then. A special team of police has been formed to hunt for Koiri. Direct involvement of Koiri in the murder of Bika has been identified as per the accusation paper prepared by the District Government Attorney Office. Sanjay Shah, who was arrested on charge of involvement in the case, had included the name of Koiri among 20 others in his statement. Likewise, another accused, Pradeep Shah, has also given a statement saying that Koiri was present at the murder site. Only 3 out of the 28 accused have been arrested and imprisoned so far. Nepal police have rescued 12 women who were on course to be trafficked to Ethiopia through India. The Anti-Human Trafficking Bureau has said that 12 women were headed for Ethiopia via Kakadbitta, Jamuna, Sunauli and then India. Initially, the women were told they would be taken to Oman and Kuwait, while the agents had already arranged the tickets for the United Arab Emirates, from where they would be flown to Ethiopia. The traffickers' network had opted for initial road travel instead of aviation to evade security. Meanwhile, the Bureau has said the lack of clarity in human trafficking laws had posed challenges in booking the guilty. The Bureau has also rescued another 16-year-old girl held hostage in India. In the past 4 years, the Bureau has rescued some 443 individuals from various countries. The number of visitors to Buddhist pilgrimage site Lumbini, which is also the birthplace of Gautam Buddha, is on the rise in recent years. However, the length of stay in Lumbini has been largely limited. The region hosts around 1.2 million visitors on average every year, while 90% of these visitors have been found to stay for just a single day. Even as the popular destination boasts of facilities such as adequate presence of meditation and prayer centers and village tour packages, Lumbini has not been able to lengthen the visitors' stay. Apart from the birthplace of Gautam Buddha, Lumbini is surrounded by religiously significant archaeological sites like Tilaurakot in Kapilvastu, where Buddha spent 29 years, Devdaha, which is the maternal home of Buddha, and Ramgram that holds significance to both Hindu and Buddhist pilgrims. However, locals businesses say the Lumbini Development Trust has hesitated in giving equal priority to these sites despite their tourism potential. Apart from religious significance, the Lumbini province has a whole as a whole is also home to wetlands and a diverse species of plants and birds. An upgraded road is under construction around Lumbini to support the region's tourism. However, observers say the road might not make such a difference due to the lack of coordination between local residents and local levels. Meanwhile, a cable car to facilitate Rupandehi, Kapilvastu, Nawalparasi and Palpatoor for foreigners is being constructed at the moment as businesses hope to lengthen visitors' stay. Time now for our segment, Public Pulse, where you text us with your opinion.
Public Pulse.
Here's the question: what should be done to promote domestic agro products? The options are A, grant to farmers, B, curb import, and C, guarantee market. Voting is on. Type any WS, select your option A, B or C and send it to 34001 to share your opinion with us. Time now for international update. Indonesia plans to intensify talks with China and other Southeast Asian countries to finalize a code of conduct for the disputed South China Sea, its foreign minister said today amid escalating tensions in the strategic waterway. Foreign Minister Retno Marsudi was speaking in Jakarta at the close of a meeting between foreign ministers from the Association of Southeast Asian Nations, the 10-member regional bloc chaired by Indonesia this year. Negotiations on the Code of Conduct, a proposed framework to help tackle territorial and maritime disputes in the waterway, have stalled for years as some member states prioritized bilateral ties with China over a regional consensus. Indonesia is preparing to host a round of negotiations on the Code of Conduct this year, the first taking place in March, the foreign minister said. China claims jurisdiction over almost the entire South China Sea based on its U-shaped 9-dash line, a boundary found to have no legal basis by the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague in 2016. Earlier this week, the Philippines granted the United States greater access to its military bases in part due to Beijing's extensive claims in the resource-rich maritime area. ASEAN members, the Philippines, Vietnam, Malaysia and Brunei all have overlapping claims with China in the strategic waterway. Indonesia is not an official claimant but has faced pushback from China over its exploration of oil and gas reserves in the North Natuna Sea. Separately, ASEAN members wrapped up talks, having only reiterated support for the bloc's 5-point peace plan on Myanmar, which includes the cessation of conflict in the conflict-torn nation and the start of dialogue. After a 2-year hiatus due to the COVID-19 pandemic, Singapore's Lunar New Year parade bounced back to life yesterday evening with floats and costumes inspired by this year's Chinese zodiac, the rabbit. Held annually, Chingay, which is derived from the Hokkien pronunciation of the Chinese phrase costume art, has its roots in procession held to honor deities, tracing back to mainland China according to organizers. The modern rendition, however, is usually held around the Lunar New Year and is closely associated with overseas ethnic Chinese communities in Singapore and Malaysia. This year's Chingay parade featured performances ranging from lion dancing to ballet and drew hundreds of spectators. Scaled-down renditions of Chingay were held in 2021 and 2022, but were only available to watch via live stream for the public. Singapore resident Kevin Chua, who brought his family to attend, said he was happy they could finally see it in person after so many years. Singaporean Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong was also in attendance. Celebrations for the Lunar New Year technically began on 21st of January, although festivities continue for over 2 weeks from that date. The world produces roughly 400 million tons of plastic waste every year, recycling and reusing of which has yet to gain momentum. A few artists, however, have found ways to make use of waste, highlighting in the ecological impacts of modern consumption and emphasizing on sustainability amid a rampant plastic pollution.
Nigerian artist Eugene Kumboy is turning discarded plastic flip-flops into colorful portraits in what he says is an effort to help clean up the environment in a country where plastic pollution is prevalent. What started as an assignment in college in 2017 has become a full-time job for Komboi, whose studio in southwest Ogun State is now training upcoming artists who want to follow in his footsteps. In the last 4 years, Komboi has been perfecting his art and creating life-size portraits from slippers, even though he graduated with a specialty in painting.
I started working with this in 2017 as a student of Alchemy Polytechnic, and it started as an assignment for me. And after I did my assignment, I found out that this is something I can do. This is something I have a strength and I have flair for, so I continued.
Nigeria produces at least 2.5 million tons of plastic waste annually, according to government figures. Some of it finds its way into the ocean and rivers.
Plastic pollution is a global problem. It's a problem that it's a war that every country of the world is fighting. This is not just something that Africans are fighting. It's not something that is just about Nigeria. This is about the world. So my work is meant to, one of the major reasons and one major purpose of my work is to manage this plastic pollution within my own environment.
Komboi sources his material mostly from landfills and riverbanks and takes it to his studio where he disinfects and washes it before coming up with face portraits.
The first stage of my work is sourcing for the material, which I go out to dump ground, landfills or riverbanks to get. After I get them, I bring them into my studio for cleanup. So I clean them properly, I disinfect, I wash, so they become clean for my own safety.
The 30-year-old says, depending on the size of the work, a piece can take him between 1 to 2 months to complete.
Time now for sports update.
Sports news.
A protest has been organized against Cricket Association of Nepal's decision for lifting the ban on Sandeep Lamichhane, who is alleged of raping a minor and including him in the national cricket team's closed camp training. A protest rally organized at the capital's Maitighar Mandala today has demanded to boycott CAN and Sandeep. While this move of CAN has drawn political, legal and ethical questions, campaign to boycott CAN is trending in social networking platforms. Former captain of the national cricket team Sandeep Lamichhane faces alleged charges of raping a 17-year-old minor. The Patan High Court had released him on a bail amount of 2 million rupees on the 13th of January. The Kathmandu District Court had ordered to send Lamichhane to the Sundara-based Central Jail on 4th of November after a detention hearing. Lamichhane had moved the High Court challenging the order. Meanwhile, the Office of the Attorney General last Tuesday had moved the Supreme Court against the High Court's decision to release him on bail, demanding investigations with judicial custody. Meanwhile, on Tuesday itself, CAN lifted the suspension imposed on Sandeep and he was included in the closed camp training of the national cricket team 2 days later. CAN had earlier imposed the ban on 8th of September last year, just over 4 months ago, after the Nepal police issued a warrant in his name on alleged charges of rape. The national team is currently preparing for the ICC World Cricket League 2 series beginning from 14th of February, which involves Namibia and Scotland. British record signing Enzo Fernandez made his Chelsea debut but could not help his new side claim only their second win of 2023 as they were held by Fulham at Stamford Bridge. Argentina midfielder Fernandes completed a £107 million move to the Blues from Benfica 3 days ago, and Graham Potter opted to hand him an immediate start. He made a solid impression and almost enjoyed a dream debut when his curled effort flew just wide of the post in the second half. Kai Havertz also went close before the break when his lobbed effort from Hakim Ziyech's pass clipped the woodwork before the ball was cleared off the line. Debutant David Datro Fofana had a shot cleared off the line late on after showing great control to wrong foot the goalkeeper. But overall, Chelsea again struggled to create a real goal-scoring chances, finishing the game with just 3 shots on target. Fulham, after a superb defensive display, move up to 6th in the table, 3 places and 2 points above Chelsea. Cristiano Ronaldo scored his first goal for Al Nassr with a last gasp penalty to salvage a 2-all draw at Al Fateh in a thrilling Saudi Pro League match last night. That's all for the moment. Our next English bulletin will be at 10:30 tonight. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.